In my last ghost reaction video, I made a startling discovery. People lie on the internet.
You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
Well, yes.
There are a ton of fake videos on the internet. Some are created to mislead people, and some are created just for entertainment purposes. And sometimes they're both. One guy can upload a video for entertainment purposes, and another guy can create content with that same video to mislead people. In this video, I'm going to take a look at the power of paranormal presenters here on YouTube. Guys like Bizarre Bub, Nuke's Top 5, and Slapped Ham, who have millions of subscribers and wield a lot of influence in the paranormal space. Their fans will say they're neutral third parties, but I believe otherwise. It's time to ask the age-old question posed on the DVD cover of the 2003 cult classic, The Room. Can you really trust anyone? Okay, everyone got your Googling hands ready? Good, because where we're going, you're gonna need them. Oh, what this? Yeah, it's a new watch. Thanks for noticing. I actually got it from this video's sponsor, Holskern. They're a family business that specializes in unique watches and jewelry made from natural materials like stone or, in this case, wood. Actually, you know, my Googling hands need a little warm-up, so let's look up some things about today's sponsor. They use natural materials, right? Well, let's find out if they're environmentally conscious. Okay, all the wood that they use is actually FSC certified. That's good. That means that it comes from a responsibly managed environment. Looks like they're also engaged in reforestation efforts. What's also worth noting is that their products are made in small quantities, so they take their time making these to make sure everything's right. Okay, it says here they're located in Austria. So what's the shipping situation like? Free shipping worldwide, 2 to 5 business days, and they take care of custom fees. Nice. Plus, for a limited time only, Holskern is having their biggest sale of the year, where you can get up to an exclusive 30% off by clicking my link in the description or the pinned comment. It's really the perfect opportunity to find that gift for that special someone or treat yourself to something unique and high quality. Big thanks to Holskern for sponsoring this video, and now that my Googlers are warmed up, it's time to fact check some stuff. Online literacy isn't just about detecting photoshopped images or fake information. It's about being able to identify the intention of the person spreading them. Are they knowingly spreading misinformation, or are they simply a naive and excitable person who genuinely believed it? Or are they bots? Twitter, for example, is overrun with bots these days, to the point where it's almost unusable. Check out this video posted by a verified user with over 2,000 likes.
Here's a surprise for everyone. I'll be doing a $20 million crypto giveaway at for 48 hours.
I'm definitely joining.
Oh, what's wrong, Tucker Carlson? You said that like you were being held hostage.
I'm definitely joining.
These kinds of videos are everywhere on Twitter, like basically any thread where Elon Musk is even vaguely mentioned. And just like any collectible, there are plenty of rare variants.
Okay, so this is the moment you all been waiting for. I'm announcing a crypto giveaway. Okay, so this is the moment you all been waiting for. I'm announcing a crypto giveaway. This is the moment you all been waiting for. I'm announcing a crypto giveaway.
Now, just to make sure we're all on the same page, these videos are AI generated. They took real clips of Elon Musk talking on stage or in interviews, and the AI generated both the audio and the lip sync. Although it's done poorly enough to be noticeable, even by these guys. Hey, is this AI? Videos like these are spread all over Twitter by verified users. A badge that means nothing at all because you can just buy it now. And let me tell you, there's nothing these bots love more than buying Twitter verification. Here's verified user Janat7788. Today's my birthday. Please don't scroll without type happy birthday. Pay no attention to the garbled store signs in the background, or the crushed up car, or whatever's going on here. Happy birthday, amen. To hot, amazing beauty. This is completely unrelated, but feel free to follow me on Blue Sky. I just started using that more lately. Anyway, it's not just bots posting AI-generated Elon Musk. Elon Musk himself is also posting AI-generated Elon Musk. At all hours of the day, the world's richest man is posting fake photos of himself, often in heroic poses with the sun hitting just right. They're obviously AI generated. But why is he posting these? Well, he's posting these for personal branding, vanity. Elon has spent a lot of time and energy painting himself as a hero, a warrior, a gladiator, if you will. But the problem is, he doesn't exactly strike an intimidating pose in real life. But that's nothing a little AI Photoshop can't fix. And even though a lot of his followers may know deep down that these aren't real pictures of him, they still have the desired effect. I mean, these pictures hit 1 million likes for reasons beyond irony and memes, unfortunately. The bots are posting AI Elon as a malicious scam, but Elon is posting AI Elon for presentation purposes. He's using them to curate the experience his followers have on the site. My point with all this: how fake content is framed is very important. The person spreading the content has a lot of power in how it's perceived. And this is one department that paranormal YouTubers in particular really excel at: controlling the narrative. One of the things I've had the most fun with on this channel has been debunking paranormal YouTube stuff. Slowing down a clip frame by frame to show where it was edited. Look at that. See that? The video's cut. Coming up with a common sense explanation. Dude, okay, the bike is absolutely on top of a car. Or testing popular ghost hunting devices. Are you a ghost? You are, but I find that what I end up doing the most is having to correct basic facts, like the history of an allegedly haunted location being almost completely fabricated, for example. That was a wild ride. In my most recent ghost reaction video, I came across a clip from popular paranormal clip curator Bizarre Bub that really confused me. It's from Bub's latest upload, Scary Comp V97, posted just a few weeks ago. It's a strange video that looks to be just a really pixelated clip of a bird or a bug or some other animal briefly flying into frame. In other words, a total nothing burger. But listen to how Bub introduces it.
On a sunny day, somewhere on a peninsula, a man records a video of an ancient fortress that was built in 1725.
An ancient fortress built in 1725, notwithstanding, somewhere on a peninsula? Bub's being very vague about the exact location of this place, huh? This introduction, and almost everything else that Bub says about this clip, is weirdly sketchy. Here's the original video, which a lot of you in the comments were able to find. It has 229 views now, but when it was first being linked to me in the comments, it had well under 100 views. Hardly a viral clip, but we'll get to that later. The title of the video clearly says where it was filmed, and I'm gonna try my best with this. Fuerte de San Felipe de Bacalar, which is part of the Yucatan Peninsula. So why not just say all that? Why call it just some ancient fortress, somewhere on a peninsula? Well, Bub says even more sketchy things from here.
While some speculate that it might be the spirit of a pirate who died while crossing the fort, others are simply baffled by the clip.
Now, you may remember that the video had under 100 views when it was included in Bub's compilation. Pretty low view count for there to be that much discourse. People saying they're baffled by the clip, people theorizing it's the spirit of a pirate. Well, there's no comments like that on this video. I mean, there are now, but only because I made fun of it in my video weeks ago. So there's no source I can find for Bub's examples of the general public's reaction. Were the comments fabricated? Well, it's possible there's some Reddit thread out there I'm not aware of, but the fact remains there's nothing on the original video. In fact, the only comments on the video are from people who came there from my reaction video. The sketchiness doesn't stop there either. Bub adds that the man who filmed this gave him additional context for the so-called anomaly.
He further adds that this, whatever it was, had been inside a closed-off section to the public.
A closed-off section to the public, huh? Weird, because it looks like it's accessible from the street right there. But hey, now that we know the actual name of the fortress, we can check it out on Google Street View and find out for ourselves. So here's where the guy was filming from. and here's the view from the street of where he was filming. You're telling me this was closed off to the public? Literally anyone could just walk up there from the street. But Bub doesn't stop there. He claims the man who filmed added even more context to this extremely publicly accessible area of the fortress.
There was no way that a person could have accessed this area, as no one had stepped foot there for years.
No one had set foot there for years. How could you possibly make that claim? What, you monitor that patch of grass 24/7? Grass which, by the way, appears to be freshly mowed. Finally, Bub adds one last bit of dramatic flair to the clip by making this dubious claim.
The fort has taken the lives of many pirates who invaded the peninsula during the 18th century.
Now, I read a bit about this fortress and found nothing about pirates dying here, much less dying by the truckload like Bub is implying. Starforts.com, for example, a site that's very passionate about these kinds of fortresses, as you might guess, has a lengthy article that mentions the fortress was built partially to deter pirates from attacking, but no details of any actual violence. Now, you'd think if this thing was sinking pirate ships by the dozen, they would have mentioned it, but I found nothing about murdered pirates. Not on starforts.com, not on the Fortress Wikipedia page, not on any Fortress enthusiast blog. Nowhere. As far as I can tell, it's not true. So, let's review. Bub was vague about what fortress this was, and even about what peninsula it was on. Then he made an unsubstantiated claim about pirates dying there. Then he claimed that people who watched the clip theorized the anomaly was the spirit of a pirate. He also added context, supposedly from the uploader, about the very clearly publicly accessible, freshly mowed area of the fortress the anomaly appeared in, supposedly being closed off. Most of the information that Bub uses to frame this clip is at best unsubstantiated and at worst completely fabricated. And there's too many possibly fabricated pieces of information at work here to be a coincidence. This clip, which again I would guess is a mid-flight bird or bug or something, is such a nothing burger that it needed to be dressed up a little. Why make the claim about pirates dying at the fortress? Well, so you could make the claim that this anomaly could be the spirit of a pirate. Why add unnecessary context about whether the area was publicly accessible or not? Well, so you can add an air of mystery. It's the forbidden section of the fortress. Why be vague about what fortress this is and where it's located? Well, maybe Bub didn't want you to easily be able to look this stuff up. This is, unfortunately, a pretty good example of how the presentation of the clip is where the actual misinformation is, and not just in the clip itself. And this isn't the only time Bub has framed a clip with false information. I decided to cut this clip in my reaction to it from my last reaction video, but at one point, Bub is talking about a ghost at the DuPont Plaza Hotel. And this is how he tells the history of the building.
This exact hotel, which was formerly called the DuPont Plaza, had mysteriously caught fire, resulting in many lives being lost.
And a quick check to the hotel's Wikipedia page showed that the fire wasn't mysterious at all. Okay, so it took me all of 5 seconds to find this information. What Bizarre Bub described as a, what was the quote, mysterious fire, was actually arson. It was a fire that was intentionally set by 3 disgruntled employees. But just like with the fortress, saying that the fire was mysterious gives the clip a more tense atmosphere. Here's another example of a clip with an unnecessarily dramatic introduction.
This next video was suggested to me by someone who wishes to remain anonymous.
They wish to remain anonymous, huh?
According to them, they had found this video on social media with little to no context.
Now, Bub, be honest. Are you sure that you didn't just find this video under #paranormal on TikTok? And it was one of the most recent videos since it was uploaded on July 12th, 2024? And you were looking for clips for your compilation, which you uploaded the very next day on July 13th, 2024? Because that makes way more sense to me than this story about an anonymous tipster randomly coming across the video and sending it to you. But which framing of the video sets the atmosphere better? The idea that it mysteriously appeared on the internet one day with no context, like Bub says it did, or the idea that it just popped up under #paranormal. Why would someone request to be anonymous just for submitting a clip anyway? What are you in the witness protection program? Just make up a pseudonym. This clip was submitted by Roy G. Biv. No one's gonna look into it. The clip is nothing special, by the way. If I had to give an explanation, I'd say it's the shadow of a person standing in the parking lot outside. Just like the Fortress clip, this is a lot of work being put into the backstory of a clip that's just not very interesting in the end. All of these clips have been pretty incriminating evidence that Bizarre Bub frequently fabricates details. But this next one I'm about to show you is probably the most egregious of all. In his Scary Comp 2023 video, Bub includes a clip of some police officers checking out a house where a woman called 911. They get in there and some spooky ghost things happen. Now, what if I told you that this clip is actually a short film called The Body Cam Ghost? Here's the original clip, uploaded to the writer and director's YouTube channel, and clearly titled The Body Cam Ghost, a short film by Julian Pettit. But listen to how Bub introduces the clip.
On November 22nd of 2021, 2 policemen were called to search a house. The events that occurred during the search have left both officers extremely unsettled.
So first of all, Bub is presenting the short film as if it's real. But again, just like we've seen with other clips, he's adding his own fictional details. The events left the officers unsettled? That's mentioned nowhere in the 4-minute short film. It's a detail that's being added simply for dramatic effect. You know, in seeing a lot of these clips from Bub, I've noticed an interesting pattern with him, and that's that the more detail and backstory he gives on a clip, the more likely it is that he may just be making it up. Because for this body cam clip, he goes on and on. He even defends the video against debunkers.
Now, something that's odd about this video is that all the closets appear to be empty. The video's description states that the homeowner occasionally rents out the house through Airbnb. As to prevent guests/renters from stealing personal items, leaving the closets empty is necessary.
The funny thing is, Bub's technically not making this up. The video's description for the short film does indeed state that in the film's cinematic universe, the house is an Airbnb rental. However, the key detail is, of course, that the Airbnb is fictional.
Now, another thing that viewers point out is that the cops don't bother turning on the lights. This is actually normal though.
Oh, viewers were pointing this out, huh? Where? In the short film's comments? I don't see any. And what? They didn't read the title? Are the viewers that are pointing out these things in the room with us right now, Bub? And to put the cherry on top, he ends the segment by saying this.
This video, like most others, remains a mystery.
All right, stop right there. Stop right there, criminal scum. You have violated the law. Or whatever the Oblivion Guard quote is. So, hit a bit of a snag here, actually, in my narrative for the video. You may have had this thought yourself while watching, and I had it too while I was editing just now. What if the body cam ghost originally did not say that it was a short film? What if it pulled a Blair Witch Project and it originally presented itself like it was a real paranormal clip? Well, that's exactly what happened. The original video of the body cam ghost was uploaded on January 4th, 2023, and Bizarre Bub's Scary Comp V71 was uploaded the very next day, January 5th, 2023, and this was the first video in the comp. Now, if we go to the Wayback Machine, we can see the earliest capture of this video, which is from March 2023, says that the video title was originally just Body Cam Ghost. Didn't say anything about being a short film. Now, it is worth noting that the very next month in April, the title was updated to The Body Cam Ghost, a short film, and the description was as well. Also, this is the earliest point in which I can see that the comments were turned off. So the situation isn't quite as egregious as I framed it just now because Bub saw the clip as just Body Cam Ghost and not Body Cam Ghost, a short film. Now with that aside, there are still 2 points I'd like to emphasize. The first is that this clip was republished in December 2023 as part of Bub's Scary Comp 2023 video, which is where I originally saw it. And that was published 8 months after the clip title correction of it being a short film. The second thing to keep in mind is that this was still published in Scary Comp V71 only 1 day after Julian Pettit uploaded this clip. Now, Julian Pettit has about 50 subscribers now, so I don't know how much they had back then, but it was certainly much fewer. As we've seen with other clips, Bub comments a lot on the discourse of the video.
The doors opening by themselves when the officer searches upstairs are things that viewers can't seem to explain. Now, another thing that viewers point out is that the cops don't bother turning on the lights.
And I just find it very hard to believe that there was this much discourse in less than 24 hours on this tiny channel's video. And there's still this unfounded comment about the officers feeling unsettled afterwards.
The events that occurred during the search have left both officers extremely unsettled.
Upstairs clear? Yeah, we were good.
My point with all this isn't that Bizarre Bub is a liar. It's that I can't trust how he presents these clips. But anyway, I just wanted to issue that correction, make sure we're all on the same page. A lot of people get on to me for dissecting clips like this. They say that the clips are just for entertainment purposes. And furthermore, clip curators like Bizarre Bub simply present you with the facts and let you decide. But how can that be true when the clips are being introduced with false information? Some of the fibs and little white lies may not seem like a big deal, like the tall tale of the anonymous submitter, but it definitely starts affecting the integrity of the clip when you start adding fabricated details to the history of the location, like the idea that pirates died at the fortress, or that the notorious hotel fire was a mysterious accident. And the thing about Bizarre Bub and many other paranormal compilation channels is that their fans really trust them. This is the only Scary Videos channel I can put my trust in. I really appreciate that you give the history of these places. Ugh. I've seen too much John Wolfe that I'm skeptical about everything now. Look at this, a comment in the wild with immeasurable respect for me. How nice. For a lot of people that are watching, it goes beyond just entertainment value. They trust Bub not to sensationalize this stuff for them. They want the content to have integrity. And while it's disappointing to see Bizarre Bub add unnecessary theatrics to his compilations with misinformation, he's far from the only one. Nuke's Top 5, the most popular of these paranormal clip channels, also adds artificial details to their clips. Nuke's way of doing it is usually a little different from Bub's though. I talked in a video earlier this year about this sound effect he edited into a TikTok clip that didn't originally have it. Yeah, that's right. Nuke added that fake scream audio when he added the clip to his compilation video. It wasn't in the original TikTok clip. At the time, I thought this was a pretty significant bit of information. I mean, here you have a trusted paranormal clip curator adding spooky sound effects in post, right? Well, first of all, a lot of people didn't believe that Nuke's the one that added this sound effect, and they theorized that maybe he found a version of the footage with this effect added by someone else. Some troublemaker out there. But the reaction that most surprised me was from longtime fans of Nuke in the comments telling me that he adds these sound effects all the time. They get that it's just for presentation purposes, and they're used to it. And as it turns out, they're right. He does do it pretty often. In fact, he'll even sometimes add this sound effect twice in the same clip. And it's not just this Scary Scream Sound Effects HD clip either. He adds other ones too. Here's an example from his latest compilation from a few weeks ago. Now, if you watch the original TikTok from Shireen Louise, it clearly doesn't have this sound effect. Instances like that last one seem pretty harmless overall because the effects sound really out of place. But there's still examples like this one where the sound effect seems intended to sound like it's actually in the original video, which is an action I'd file under malicious intent. I shouldn't have to check the original TikTok clips to see if everything matches up as it's presented in the compilation. I should be able to trust that the clip curators are presenting the clips accurately to the best of their ability. But to that point, setting aside these examples of malicious intent, how much due diligence is reasonable to expect out of these guys?
Shireen Louise, a single mother of a 3-year-old daughter, has recently moved into an old Victorian house in Cardiff, England.
Cardiff, England? Cardiff is in Wales, mate. We're not even 10 seconds into this Nuke's Top 5 video and he's already got it wrong. But to be fair, this was clearly just a mistake. After all, what does the country have to do with the clip? There's no history being talked about here. There's no advantage to the video's entertainment value from lying about what country it takes place in. So I'm pretty confident we can chalk this one up to an innocent mistake. Now, in an ideal world, Nuke's Top 5 would double check that he knows what country Cardiff is in before posting the video. But we don't live in an ideal world and people make mistakes sometimes. But shouldn't you try to make your videos mistake-free? Here's an allegedly paranormal clip originally posted by Caco Garcia 7 of a car mechanic supposedly talking to a ghost. The story behind it is that a car was dropped off at a mechanic shop for repairs. A couple days later, the mechanic is seen here talking to no one, though he claims he was talking to the owner of the car, a Mr. Carlos, as he puts it. As it turns out, Mr. Carlos lost his life in a car accident the night before. So the mechanic was talking to a ghost. Hey, wait just a minute. If the mechanic had Mr. Carlos's car for a few days, but then Mr. Carlos just died the night before this clip in a car accident, then that means the car in the mechanic shop can't be the car that Mr. Carlos allegedly died in. You see the problem? The timeline doesn't add up. If you stop and think about it, there's a big plot hole in this story. But that didn't stop paranormal clip curators from repeating the story over and over. Here's Nuke telling the story.
One day, a severely damaged car is brought into a garage in Villarica, Chile. It seems that the car had been involved in a serious traffic accident just the night before.
Here's Bub telling the story.
Although feeling creeped out by the car's presence, they don't think much of it and carry on with their daily assignments. But then one day, a very peculiar incident is caught on camera.
Here's clip curator Depths of Despair telling the same story.
One day he had taken a car from a client as usual, and everything went well. However, the next day this client would lose his life.
And so on and so forth. Did you notice anything in the clips just now? Because one of those clips was not like the others. The reason I was confused about the timeline is because the timeline was fabricated. But who's responsible? Caco Garcia 7 uploaded the original TikTok in December 2022, and as far as I can tell, said nothing about the car already being there for a few days. Nuke's version, posted in March 2023, also doesn't say that the car had been there for a few days. Good on you, Nuke, you decided to omit that clearly fictional detail. Depths of Despair posted their version February 26, 2023, and they mentioned the car had been there since yesterday. Bizarre Bub posted his on February 18th, and they mentioned the car had been there for a few days. This channel, Nightmare Fuel, posted theirs on January 7th, 2023, and mentions that Mr. Carlos had died a few days earlier, but says nothing about the car. It's like a game of paranormal telephone with this stuff. One person says Mr. Carlos died a few days ago, another guy says, no, Mr. Carlos died last night. One guy says Mr. Carlos' car has been there for a few days. Another guy says the car had only been there for one day. This is how this kind of thing gets started. No due diligence, just repeating what someone else told you. Nightmare Fuel leaves us with this existential question after they roll the clip. Think about this. How do we know that some people we come across are dead and we just don't know it? Yeah, I'm sure this kind of paranoia detached from reality is a healthy thing to put in the back of some people's heads. Curator Depths of Despair adds some cute conjecture to the end of their clip.
Some cars contain negative energy from their bad history, which can cause something to manifest.
But Mr. Despair, how could the car in the shop have negative energy if no one died in it? Are you saying that any car at any time can receive random negative energy, no matter what it's actually been involved in? You wanna know what else? The clip in question is edited. There's a moment where the clip is clearly cut, and what's more, it's being filmed on a phone by a phone. and I've yet to come across any clip like that that wasn't up to no good. But it almost doesn't matter that the clip appears to be edited, because the story repeated around it is patently false. Now, even if these curators didn't make these parts of the story up, they still repeated it. And isn't there a certain responsibility to properly vet this stuff? And if you neglect that responsibility, does it then qualify as malicious intent? Hey, you're crowding me! Shoo! Sheesh, that watermark gets bigger every time I see it. Clip curator Slapped Ham uploaded a video 8 months ago titled, "Insane Footage Reveals the Unthinkable." Whoa, what is that thing? Right? 4 minutes into the video, it's revealed that this is a still image and not a video like you may have been expecting. And Mr. Ham basically just says, "It's pretty weird, huh? What do you think it is?" And then moves on to the next bit. What do I think it is? Well, let's see. Yes. Fascinating. Yeah, so this is clearly an AI-generated image. It has all the inconsistencies and hallmarks of one, and it took me about 30 whole seconds to figure it out. But that doesn't stop Mr. Ham from not only chucking it into the video, but also using it as his thumbnail.
So what do you think this is? Love to hear your theories on this sighting in the comments.
Technically, he's getting it wrong on accident. He's not making up some fake story behind the photo or adding something to it to artificially make it scarier. He's simply showing us what a viewer sent him. But at the same time, even presenting something like this neutrally, to me counts as gross neglect. If a scientist, an astronomer, or a geologist, for example, showed an illustration of a flat Earth and neutrally presented it to you, some people think the Earth is flat, as you can see by this illustration. Anyway, what are your thoughts on that? Wouldn't you distrust that scientist? They should be presenting you that flat Earth illustration like it's a piece of garbage, if they even present it to you at all. To do anything else would be untrustworthy. So even though Mr. Ham and these other guys aren't technically creating any misinformation, they're sure distributing it. And even though there may not be malicious intent exactly, it's still not a great look. In my mind, you're not scot-free to throw up your hands and say, "Well, how was I supposed to know?" Here's another example. In this video about AI-generated images, this YouTuber claims this image was painted in 1943 by Norman Rockwell. But actually, it's a 1993 painting by Charles Boyer. Wait, what? Hey, this is my video we're talking about here. Wait, we're not debunking me now, are we? Speaking of being wrong on accident, it happens to the best of us. Like me. But in all seriousness, we're gonna take a quick look at the times I've been wrong, and it's only been like that one time, so this is gonna be really quick. Yeah, so a few months ago, I made this video about AI generated images that I thought was pretty informative as a primer for what to look out for. Everything was going fine until I got to the end of the video and I misattributed this painting. I said it was a 1943 Norman Rockwell painting, but you guys in the comments were quick to point out that, hey, it has Roger Rabbit in it. He wasn't created by Disney until 1988, so this painting couldn't have been from 1943. And by the way, I just want to say, even though I'm a little ashamed to have a misattribution in that video, I'm really happy that so many people called it out. One of the things I worry about with these videos sometimes is that too many people will just take my word on something, and that kind of defeats the goal of helping to improve media literacy. So I'm relieved to see that so many people stopped for a moment and were like, hey, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. So thanks for that, really. This is the 1943 Norman Rockwell painting I was talking about. And this Disney-fied version is actually a 1993 homage to that painting done by Charles Boyer. Thankfully, even though I misattributed the date and name of the painter, the point I was illustrating in this section of that video still stands intact. Also, I immediately issued a correction in the comments when I found out I was wrong. Was there any malicious intent there? Oh, of course not. What would I gain by lying about that information? Is it neglectful? You can make the argument that it is. I should have vetted the information better. The painting was actually misattributed on Google Images when I found it, but I'm not gonna pass the buck on that one. I didn't bother to double check like I usually do, so that was my bad. It's unfortunately not the only time I've been wrong either. In my first video about Bobby Mackey's Music World, I tracked down the model of this audio recorder used by Ghost Adventures host Zach Bagans. In the video, I identified it as the Sony ICD B25, but as several commenters pointed out, it was actually the B26 model, not the B25, which got me scratching my head a little because in the video, I used a picture of the B26. And in my project folder, I even named it the B26. So what happened? So funnily enough, I searched for the B26 on eBay, found a listing for it, and ordered it. And when it came in the mail, it was actually the B25. So from that point on, when I was writing my script, I just used the model number on the physical device and the model number, and not the model number I had Googled earlier. Thankfully, both the B26 and B25 are very similar recorders, so I don't think it affected the points I was making in the video, which was about the recording quality of so-called EVPs, but still, it really sticks in my craw that I didn't get the model number right. So thanks to the people who called that out. Great attention to detail. In my video, Did This YouTuber Prove Ghosts Exist?, I critiqued the way that these YouTubers were conducting their so-called scientific experiment. And during one of the critiques, I said this: "You're testing the falsifiability of your hypothesis. Because if it's easily falsifiable, then it's not a strong hypothesis, is it?" Now, not that this is any excuse, but I am not a scientist. With that said, I was still trying to make sure I was arguing from a scientific perspective. Unfortunately, while I was bang on with most of it, I got this point wrong. Scientists everywhere took to the comments to let me know that falsifiability, which I had framed as a bad thing, was actually a positive thing. You want your hypothesis to be falsifiable so that you can test it. You have to be able to gather contradictory data in order for it to be a good hypothesis. You could argue this is a semantical correction, but honestly, semantics can be important. You should make sure the terms you're using are being used correctly, or else you can end up with egg on your face, like me. I could go on and on about all the times I've been wrong, but I think you get the point. I've been wrong before, too. Let's move on.
Why don't you tell me?
Forget it, dude.
Is it some secret?
No, forget it. I'll talk to you later.
Well, whatever.
All kinds of people spread misinformation. Some people spread it on purpose, some spread it on accident, and like I said at the start, some are bots. Speaking of which, have you noticed that Bizarre Bub's voiceover is a little strange? It's not unusual for these clip curator channels to have a voiceover style that stands out. There's one we haven't talked about yet named Chills that has a particularly off-putting one.
MegaSkelly11 claims that this is a poltergeist, and after reviewing this video, I have to agree.
But Bizarre Bubs sounds stranger the more I hear it.
Felicity D promptly takes out her phone after noticing something down the road. It had caught her attention, considering that no other cars were on the road.
His cadence is all over the place, and he often reads sentences that don't make sense.
Lacking other people in this room, the video gets a whole lot strange when this is captured.
The video gets a whole lot strange. It's one thing to write that out, but to also say it out loud? The entire sentence is weird, honestly. Lacking other people in this room? And this is a consistent pattern with Bub. It honestly makes me wonder if Bub is even a real person. Is it possible that he's an AI-generated voice? Now what if I just left things there, with no follow-up? Google says Bizarre Bub is an AI voice, and that confirmed a suspicion I had, so I should just accept it at face value. It would be a great way to end the video, right? But that's not how we're gonna do things, because it's not responsible. And that's how you get into conspiracy theory territory. Google's AI overview has been wrong plenty of times before, like in this hilarious example, and while it's slowly gotten better, you may notice that this claim about Bizarre Bub being an AI-generated voice isn't backed up with any sources. And when I've searched places like Reddit or Twitter for anyone talking about it, I've come up with nothing. So where is Google getting this answer from? I don't know. As far as I can tell, it's just making it up. Bubbing it, if you will. And you know, Bub could very well be an AI voice. I don't know enough about AI voices to really give an opinion on that, but this screenshot isn't sufficient evidence to make any kind of claim. so I'm not going to act like it is. But whether he's Bizarre Bub or Bizarre Bot, there have been too many instances of fabricated details for me to trust his presentation of the clips in his compilations. But like I said earlier, the point of this video isn't to call Bizarre Bub a liar, or Nuke's Top 5, or Slapped Ham, or any of these other guys. It's to demonstrate that unfortunately, you can't take anything at face value, even if it's from a source that you trust, whether that trusted source is Bub or me. And this brings me back to a question I posed at the very beginning. A question posed by Tommy Wiseau on the cover of my DVD copy of The Room. Can you really trust anyone? No, you can't. Not fully anyway, and especially not online. YouTubers and influencers in general can be bought, plain and simple. If presenting a fictional image or video clip as something real can benefit their channel, it's a little easier to look the other way. And even if they don't do it on purpose, people can just make mistakes. You could have gone the rest of your life thinking that Norman Rockwell painted Mickey Mouse at Thanksgiving dinner, and that would have been my fault for misinforming you. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not trustworthy or that you shouldn't trust me, but I am saying that you shouldn't 100% trust everything I say, or 100% trust anything anyone else says. Least of all these paranormal clip curators. They're entertainers, not journalists. So, can you really trust anyone? I'm afraid not. But don't despair into conspiratorial thinking. If there's one thing you can trust, it's data, sources, evidence. Cross-reference the claims you see people make. Double-check their math. They may not do their due diligence, but you can still do yours. Ain't that great news?